Moxley was next. I don't know. Now I thought he was the CEO of Moxley Plumbing. Now he looks like he's the lost Darling brother from Andy Griffith. Should we say it now? We talked about Tony not being able to see shit in front of him. Bryan Danielson as a single heel was possibly the best thing in wrestling in any company. And they changed it. And Bryan Danielson's talent was making it work. He was getting booed the fuck out of the building by a bunch of people that respect him as the best wrestler in the business. But because of his talent and his verbal ability and the little things he does, he was able to turn them and be the best heel in the business. And instead of capitalizing on that and changing plans they'd made 2 years ago when everybody was blowing each other about how great they were all going to be, instead of not putting the belt on fucking Adam Page, who's a fine Intercontinental Champion, as you've mentioned, and putting that belt on Bryan Danielson so that everything that didn't revolve around Punk could revolve around him. Now they've backed up, and now the people are cheering Danielson again because he's being managed by the beloved William Regal, and they've stuck Moxley on the edge of him to make him somehow palatable. And now to see Danielson and or Regal, we've got to watch Moxley. You couldn't have begged, borrowed, or stolen Bryan Danielson being the best heel in the business. It just occurred. It happened. He got it over, and they've completely disrupted the whole goddamn thing. Is that what you were pissed about earlier?
I couldn't agree anymore. Bryan Danielson had segments that I was looking forward to. I loved his crowd interplay. I loved the way he was on the mic. It felt natural. He was great as an in-ring working heel. I was excited about where they were going to go with that. I was even willing to sit through the idea he would work a program with Moxley. But I thought it would end. And he would move on to something else, continuing his greatness. I didn't think they were going to put him in a tag team as part of the Blackpool Fight Club or whatever with William Regal, who isn't going to get booed. He was so good, and like you just said, you said it perfectly. It was right under Tony's nose. He sees it like we see it. He observes it on the monitor like we see it. I don't know if he sees it like we see it. But Danielson, for a very brief moment in time there, was doing the best work of his best work in many, many, many years, and then it just ended, and now I hate that it ended, and I have to say because of William Regal, because I like William Regal, and he's been great on commentary. But this isn't what I would have done.
Moxley and Danielson against Brian Pillman and Griff Garrison, the Varsity Blondes. So in this match, the heels kicked the shit out of the baby faces and beat them flat as 4 o'clock, and the fans cheered every second of it. If somebody had come to anybody, any promoter, any booker of any territory ever and said, I will give you $100,000 in 2 weeks, make it so that your hottest heel is cheered to the rafters and vice versa, they couldn't have done it on purpose. It's almost impossible. Nobody's, of course, ever tried to do these things. But yeah, take your hottest heel and make them the most popular people you got, and take your baby faces and bury the fuck out of them. And Julia Hart's sitting there in the corner. She's still got the eye patch on, and she's got some kind of malfunction. And I can't imagine how bad this is going to be when we find out what that is, but she just sits there and turns her back on the ring and mopes. So after this match, and thanks for coming, Brian Pillman and Griff Garrison, another ball they dropped was Pillman. And at least this time, I think, did they beat Griff this time? Remember, they were beating Pillman constantly when he was the only one that had any fucking upside. Griff Garrison, if he turns sideways, sticks his tongue out, he looks like a fucking zipper. Then after the match, Moxley does a promo. And he puts Regal over, and everybody cheers. Then he puts Danielson over as the greatest wrestler in the world. And the fans cheer. Again, they were booing him out of the arena 3 weeks ago. The perfect heel, the perfect champion. And now they've blown it. And then Moxley droned on forever in the way that he usually does. William Regal didn't speak. Bryan Danielson didn't speak. They just stood there and then they left. God damn it. Now they've ruined him. They're doing this on purpose just because we like something. You know that. As a matter of fact, the guy in the front row had the sign all night. Cornette will not like this. You're right, whoever you were.